It is now time, Kim, for AO Memory Lane. Are you ready for this?
I think I am.
Let's start off by rewinding to your first ever Australian Open main draw. That was the year 2000. You were 16 years old. What was it like being in that locker room with people who I assume you grew up looking up to?
It was the best ever. I remember as a little girl watching the Australian Open and seeing Steffi Graf hold up the trophy. And I remember, I don't know who it was, but them putting a hat on her. I remember them putting a kangaroo or a little stuffed, animal koala bear in the kangaroo. And as a little kid, I was like, oh my God, I want to have that one day. And so that image has always stayed with me. And so then when I came on site for the first time, and I think I lost to a fellow Belgian, actually, Dominique Monami, who was at the time maybe top 10 or top 15. So it was a tough first round, but I was just so excited to be a part of it and to experience it all. And, I had an academy in Belgium, and there's juniors that come out of there, and to all the younger players, I always say, I feel like the first year that you are on tour, whether it's qualies or is about experience, is really about learning the environment. It's about seeing all your heroes and seeing them in person and talking to them maybe, and those kind of things. There's a lot of new emotions that come with it, and but I was so young, 16. My daughter is now, she's about to turn 18, and so I can imagine her it's crazy, Blair.
So crazy. Well, because everyone sort of sets their personal clock.
Right.
So many tennis fans set their clock to Jada at the US Open in, was it 9 or 10? 2009 or 2010?
2009, yeah.
2009, yes, exactly. So it not only is Jada just a beautiful young woman, but we are all feeling old.
Imagine how I feel, Blair. Especially at this stage with my foot. No, but it's crazy, to think, as a 16-year-old that I was in that situation. And you have to be an adult a lot of times, right? You get thrown into the media room and you have to ask questions. I remember I got asked questions about the Belgian politics, and I had no interest in politics back then. I couldn't care less, right? And so I had to start answering questions about, if a certain player, I don't know, whatever it was, doping scandals or whatever, I never thought about that. So you really kind of get thrown in there. And I do feel like the WTA always was very kind of informative and would teach, about media training a little bit, and lucky to have, parents who kind of had a good head on their shoulders and always stayed very kind of didn't go too crazy about all that stuff and the attention. And but it's a crazy world to be a part of. But I loved it. I loved seeing everybody, meeting the players for the first time. I have a story, and I told this to Monica one day, because I have curly hair, she has curly hair, and she taught me how to put foam, curly hair foam in her hair. I saw her do it in the locker room. She's like, oh, you should try this. And I told her, I said, do you remember you did that? And she has no idea. It's she was so nice and normal. Aww. And it's those kind of things that just make you feel like you somehow belong a little bit, even though you don't feel like you do yet. So, it was a lot of fun. And I absolutely loved playing tennis. So
yeah,
it was great.
Well, this is Monica Seles that we're referring to.
Yes,
by
Monica
the way, you first name basis over there.
Sorry.
But that's a really neat story. Moving on to your next milestone. You were a finalist in 2004, so you were 20 years old. Justine got the best of you in 3 sets in that one. What do you remember from that final?
One of the things I remember in that match was that we didn't have electronic line calling. And I remember there was a call where I could have broken her back in the 3rd set, and the chair umpire overruled, and it was a huge deal because I think John McEnroe came up to me afterwards and told me that the ball was in, or Justine's shot ball was out, but the chair umpire overruled. And so anyway, So I do remember that, and I remember feeling like, oh man, I could have broken back, but that doesn't mean I would have won the match or anything like that. So I think I was always very aware of not using anything as an excuse or anything like that. But yeah, it was, another loss against Justine, I think, and frustrating. But at the same time, you're, in tennis, and I think I always really felt strongly about, you start as a young girl and you start playing tennis, and how long it will take to get to a certain stage, right? And so I think in the back of my mind, I always felt like, okay, as disappointing that it felt like losing, I really enjoyed playing. And I think the overall, whenever I stepped on the flight back to Europe, there was also a sense of like, I was proud with the level that I played most of the time, like not all the time throughout the tournament, but and it's a learning process, and more than ever, I think that's, at the end of the day, you have to keep in the back of your mind is that it's a long road, and then you have, new opportunities coming up pretty soon after. And I would play, in Belgium right after. So immediately you had to be locked in again and focus on the next. So you didn't have too much time to dwell on the negative that happened, unless you did a press conference and media started asking about it. But for me in general, I would just be focused on the next event and focus on practicing hard. And that helps a lot, right? To not overthink things and to not become too negative about the losses.
You were a semifinalist in Australia 4 other times. And then in 2011, as we've mentioned already today, you became an Australian Open champion. And with that, I didn't know this until this week, you became the first mother to be ranked #1 in the world, which is so cool. What sticks out to you when you think back to that year?
I didn't know it. I didn't know it either that I became #1 after the Australian Open that year. I do
Maybe
remember.
I should double check myself.
I do.
But
is it?
I'm pretty sure.
I remember playing Paris, and I don't know if I became #1 in Paris, like the indoor tournament after the Australian Open, or if I arrived in Paris as the #1. But you're probably right.
Eventually, you became #1 that year.
It.
Yes.
No, that was really, really great. Like I was kind of, I feel like I impressed myself with it. Like I was like, wait, what? Like I'm #1 now too, like after I had a daughter. And it was just really exciting. And yeah, to have good results and to have good, to feel good, like the flow, you can feel it with certain players, right? You can see it with Sabalenka at times too, where the team chemistry is really good. She's happy. She's herself. Like you can see that she's, that the team chemistry is it works. And it doesn't mean that it's always great, but you get through the tough times more easily.
Before Techie Sean throws up our guest question asker, a reminder that if you have questions for me, a journalist on site, or a former Australian Open champion, you can submit them anytime on our Love All podcast social media. We are going to be taken to the socials during the Australian Open and giving you guys a lot of content there. So feel free to keep the questions coming. And with that, let's welcome our guest.
Kim, it's your boy Francis here. Just got a question for you regarding your amazing career. What kept you motivated? The fear of failing or the joy of success? Let me know.
Francis, one of my absolute favorites. Love his energy. What kept me going? I think the fear of failing. I hated losing more than I loved winning.
Sorry, time out, stop. No way, Kim.
Yeah.
I thought for sure you were a love to win person.
No.
Really?
Yeah. The joy of winning is so short, then the frustration of losing lasts a lot longer than the joy of winning lasts. For me, right? Like, but that's
for
also
me
because,
too.
But maybe because I now that I think back, there's times that I think like, oh, I probably should have enjoyed my time a little bit more. It's not like I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't maybe, should have done other things more, should have visited the countries and all the beautiful places that we visited. Like, I was very locked in, very committed, which is also, I think, why I, had the consistent, career. But no, it was definitely, I hate it. It's just, if I compare it that way with what takes longer, it's the frustration of losing, and that playing in your head over and over again lasts longer than the joy of winning.